Hello, today we are going to look at this tool, M18 FSAG125XPDB. What a name. So let's see what is wrong with it. Okay, so it is not starting at all. Let's see what we have. First thing first. That's funny. It looks like it's not moving at all. Ooh. This seems to be completely stuck. Let's open it and see what we have inside. We can see that just there, those little components are all effect, something effect component that in fact are used to tell the motor whether or not it is running and where it is running. You can see that they have been ripped or removed or just rusted because of rust. They are not anymore, so I'm not sure it's gonna work without them. Don't know if the rest is still okay. Nice potted board like we like. Thank you, Milwaukee. And at least we can remove this one so that we can see those components and whether or not there is anything to do with that. Because right now it looks that they are stuck, like the whole thing was stuck. So can we try to remove that glue and try to put them back in? But you see, even that one is rough. I don't know what happened exactly. Could it be just the corrosion? As we can see that this is really rusty, and then afterwards something happened and it was just stuck and it ripped off those things. I don't know. One thing I noticed also is that those screws, there seems to be screws there, which would make sense. But they are not there. So this is not helping, I guess, to get the motor straight. Yeah. See, it is moving there and there. I'm just going to try to remove that board and see what we can see inside. Okay, we can see clearly that something went wrong on that one. We can see that there are still the pads for the two sensors that were ripped. Now regarding the ones that are still stuck there, the big question will be, can we try to remove and save them? Save them in the sense, they look that they are stuck, so are they still working? Well, we have to first to remove them, then we'll see how this can be tested and what we can do. So I'm gonna try with some iso alcohol. Of course, I don't want to push too hard on them. If they are still alive, I don't want to kill them. I don't know if this is a good idea. I think it's not, but let's try to grab them. I felt something, but I don't know if it was just the thing breaking or something else. What I'm going to try is gently hit around this area and see whether or not I can try to pick those up. Okay, I forced a little bit, maybe too much, but okay. One is gone. I hope it's not gone, but it's gone. And the second one. So this part is done. Now let's see if we can scrap a little bit all that gunk. Quick explanation about how the Hall effect IC are working through this schematic. So first, notice on the schematic you have the stator of the motor, that is the non-moving part that is there, and you have the rotor, so what turns into our motor to make the movement. Movement is created by a change in magnetic field that switch from the different pair of coils, so that the motor can be spinning in one way or the other, attracting the rotor and pushing it, so that it creates the movement in one direction or the other direction. In a brushless motor like this one, you can see that the U, V, W, which represent in fact the different phase, are all by pairs. So you have one pair there, and one pair there. If you remember also some other repair video where we had some issue with MOSFET, most of the time those phases are controlled by one high MOSFET and one low MOSFET, which are the same type of MOSFETs, but one control one winding of the pair and the other one the other one. So this is the principle of the motor. So to get good control of what's going on and to have precise status of which is where, this is where the Hall effect IC are coming in. We can see that they are there, there, and there. And those three are constantly giving the position to the MCU. The MCU is then controlling and giving the right information to either this or this phase of the motor, and then controlling really how it's running and precisely knowing where it is. So thanks to those IC, our board has the complete control of the motor. So that's why those IC are so important, and that's why our motor in our case is probably not running. Another point I wanted to talk about is the type of Hall effect IC that exists. You can see there are three of them which have a different way to detect the change in magnetic field. The one I chose for our motor is the bipolar latch. Why this one? Because I looked it up, and in this type of motor, this is usually the one that are used, and this is important, of course, to choose the right one, because if you don't, they are not acting the same, and you will not have the good result that you expect. Regarding all those explanations, please keep in mind, I'm no engineer, I'm just giving you the high-level view of what I understand myself. I think it's just enough for doing repairs, but you can, of course, go deeper into much more details. I will put the link to that specific article in the description, but there are many other sources online if you're interested in that, where you can go deeper and get really a more thorough understanding than just what I gave, which is again, I think, enough for our purpose. Okay, so now I will remove this glue first, and then I will be able to replace those sensors. I've got a bunch of new ones, but let's first remove the glue, and then we'll be able to reinstall them. I will try to heat up all this gunk and see if it can be easily scrapped. So now we have a clear way to solder our replacement. I will clean up the pads, then put the new component. Now that we have clean and shiny pads, we can go and replace. Okay, for the first one, let's go with the second one. Here we go with those two. Let's clean that up. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, so now let's go to remove that last one and change it to, just in case. Let's do a couple of checks. First, we should have all the middle pins touching each other. Yes, yes. This pin too. Yes, yes. And this pin should not touch anything else. Good. Okay. So before going any further, I wanted to replace also those missing screws. If you remember, there were two. So I already put one. And this one is 632, because of course I tried to put a metric size, I think it was a M4 I tried to put in. It was going in, but not really going in. So I used this imperial screw, 632, and so I don't know if it's the right threading, because I had to, you know, push it a bit, but in the end it is okay. So we have now our 3 hole sensors are installed. So I did remove all this part with glue, okay, that was holding them together. I will use some silicone, white silicone, to put around there, just to make sure everything is covered and proper, so it is protected. As I saw on the original, if you remember on what was left of the previous one this way, the silicone was not going over it, so I, you know, will really put around it, but not over it. This might cause issue to the detection, so you in some silicone a bit long at doing it. Okay, so this is done. Now I will let it dry. In the meantime, I will clean up the cover and the rest, so that if everything works, at least we will have a clean tool. Okay, after a bit of waiting, we have our silicone, which is dry. Time to reassemble and test if this fixed it. Reassembled, ready for test. Let's go. Suivant, that's good. So, fingers crossed. I hope this is okay. Yes! So, this one is done. Saved from the trash. Those 3 all sensors were gone, as you saw. Why they were gone? My suspicion is still that as the screw were missing, the rotor went to get into contact with that board and you know, rip them off. which of course made it not working. Changing them was good enough, so that's a good news. And now we have a good working saw. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have learned something with it. If you did, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe right now. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon in a new video. Bye.